Hi, everybody. My name is Suzette Martinez Standrin, and I host It's All Right with Suzette. And it's a half-hour show about authors and their works. However, today we have a very special guest and very special announcements to show how book authors have launched into deeper causes and greater good. I want to introduce you to a retired lieutenant with the Boston Fire Department, Mike Foley, and he founded Firefighters versus Cancer. Now, this group will be will be sponsoring a comedy fundraiser to benefit the Milton firefighters. All Milton firefighters are set to get a free early detection cancer screening kit. And it's a way of keeping them safe, firefighters who face an extraordinary risk of occupational cancer, and to help them maintain their health and to save their lives. And before I bring on Mr. Foley, I want you to know that we have a comedy fundraiser May 10th, 2025 at the Milton High School Auditorium, where we will be featuring three popular comedians to raise funds to give these kits to the Milton firefighters. All that information will be distributed later, and we'll talk about that. But if you go to firefightersvscancer.org and hit events, you'll immediately be taken to the link where you can buy tickets, $30 each, the night of May 25th, May 10th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Doors open at 6:15. But let's get to the meat of how all of this happened. Welcome, Mike Foley. He's a third generation firefighter in Boston. His son will make it fourth generation. And Mike, thanks so much for coming on to the show.
For inviting me. I appreciate it.
I want to ask you, what caused you to want to be the founder of FireFightersVSCancer.org?
Well, in recent years, a lot of information has come to the forefront on occupational cancer for firefighters. Now, myself, I'm long retired, so it didn't affect me, but my son is a member of the Boston Fire Department today. And it occurred to me that he's more likely to get cancer, because of his job. And I went back to my own family history. My grandfather, he died of occupational cancer. He worked from 1917 till 1963. My father died of a pulmonary embolism, but he had stage 3 lung cancer when he retired. And my brother John died of occupational cancer. So there's a cancer issue running through the firefighters in my family, and my son is now still working. So it just, something had to be done, I believed. And so that's why we founded Firefighters versus Cancer.
When was this organization founded?
March of 2022. So we're just a little over 3 years old.
Okay. And what exactly is the mission?
The mission is to bring cancer early detection information to the 1.2 million firefighters in North America. And we don't exclude volunteers. They represent about 2/3 of the firefighters in North America. So we're going to be helping those guys too. But the idea is to bring the information to them and let them know the importance of the early detection. That's where it's at. The early detection is the best defense you have against cancer killing you, basically. I mean, without early detection, there's just that the survival rates are not good.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And I know you have some killer statistics regarding this. Can you share them with the audience?
A North American firefighter will die from occupational cancer roughly once every 21 or 22 hours throughout the entire year. 75% of all line of duty deaths for firefighters in North America are cancer related. And on an average, 40% of the firefighters working today will get cancer at some point during their career. it's staggering, and so we're trying to do something about it, and that's where we're headed.
It's really amazing. I know that I was really honored when you chose me to be the chief correspondent on your website, and my assignment is to interview firefighters who have gone through cancer or family members who have lost firefighters. And it is just an extraordinary experience talking to them and finding, I mean, I had no idea how prevalent occupational cancer was. And you want to talk a little bit about the collaboration with One Test, which is a cancer test that screens for multiple cancers, and it's sold on firefightersvscancer.org.
Well, we contacted a lady, Amy Colton from One Test down in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and I went down to visit her, and we sat down and explained what we were trying to accomplish. They have their own lab right there in the building. I took a nice tour. It's really, really impressive operation they have. So we were able to, make a deal with her. She's going to supply the tests. We're going to pay for them, of course. But that's the mission, is to provide these cancer kits, like as in the case of the Milton firefighters, in conjunction with the comedy fundraiser on May 10th. We're going to buy the kits and give them to the firefighters. And she's agreed to take this on, and it's going to be good for her. It's going to be good for us, and especially good for the firefighters who are able to take the tests.
And I'd like to add something about One Test. It is if you've ever tried Cologuard, it's like that. It's a home test. And I have gone through a recent 5-year journey with cancer, and I spoke with my oncologist about One Test, and she said that the test is especially helpful for those who have a high exposure to cancer or who have had cancer. She said it's that the biomarkers that are used in the test are FDA approved, and they track anywhere from 7 to 22 different types of cancer. And those kits can be found on our website, firefightersvscancer.org. And you can use the codes, and what it will do is you will not be charged extra for what they call a capillary collection device. Very painless device to get a blood sample. Everything is sent back in the mail. You get a private portal. Your results come back with your primary provider if you so choose. And as Mike said, early detection really saves lives. So tell me about some of the efforts that the organization has done to promote this mission.
Well, last May, on the 17th, we had a comedy show in Florian Hall in Dorchester. And it was the first in what we hope is a nationwide effort to find America's funniest firefighter. And it was a lot of fun. We had, I think, 5 or 6 contestants. What they did was the International Union sent an email to 22,000 firefighters in New England. And they were invited to submit a tape of themselves being funny. They were all reviewed by a team of comedians, and they decided on the 5 or 6 that would compete for the title. And so it was a lot of fun. It raised a lot of awareness, and it was a wonderful night. It really was. You were there. You were a judge, so you know. And what we're trying to do is get that going in other parts of the country. It's been tough, but we'll get there. It's the idea is to get sponsors to sponsor them, and we've got the locations selected, and the finals will be in Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace, believe it or not. One of our board members
Great
had
outreach, a fantastic outreach. I remember that night you asked me to serve as a judge, and there I was sitting next to the CEO of Sony Entertainment. So your outreach is incredible. You're in touch with Jay Leno right now, and he knows about this May 10th comedy fundraiser in Milton. Can you talk a little bit about your conversations with Jay and his support and encouragement?
Well, Jay, you hear a lot about people, celebrities, and the one thing I remember about Jay, it's the same with another comedian we're talking with, Lenny Clark. They've never been in the Inquirer. There's never anything bad said about them. They're just good, dynamite, down-to-earth people who have a different job than you or I do. They stand on a stage and make people laugh. He was very, very supportive. And as a matter of fact, he gave me the authority to award a tour of his vehicle, his cars. He's got 185 of them in airplane hangars at the Burbank Airport in California. He said, give away a tour, auction it off, and you can raise $5,000 or $10,000 usually. And we did. It was amazing. So he's supporting us 100%. Not out front officially, but at least in spirit. And as time goes on, I know he'll be more helpful to us. He's a dynamite guy. He really is. I love him. He's good.
That's right. And I know that you're gonna hope to get a little video clip of him, possibly welcoming everybody to our May 10th fundraiser at Milton High School, if you can. Lord knows he's really busy. We'll see. But it's wonderful to know that someone like Jay Leno is on our side.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Now, tell me, people may ask, the funds that are raised, where do they go?
Well, they go to buying the kits for the firefighters. I mean, up till now, we function, on a very, very limited staff, basically myself and a few other people. No one has collected a nickel from anything yet. As time goes on, as the donations increase and we get bigger and bigger, we'll have to hire experienced nonprofit professionals to run the show. But any work I've done on projecting for financial issues will be in the 75 to 85% of the income will go to the end user, to the firefighters. So we're going to have a very small overhead budget. And I think the average is around 60-40, and we're at 75-25 or 80-20 right now, based on the projections. We haven't got the money yet, but when we do.
Yes, and we are a 501c3 corporation. So it's nonprofit, and the majority of proceeds at this time it's all about getting these early detection kits to firefighters. And I'm just so proud that the first recipient is going to be the Milton Fire Department.
That was your idea. So
well, you're the boss man, so it was great that you agreed.
considered that, and you came up with it, and I said, "Wow, why didn't I think of that?" Geez, no, that was good. It was a tremendous idea, and it's
well,
see it actually take place. To plan it and then make it happen. Like the show in last May, was a lot of work, but it was fun to see it when it happened.
it was fantastic. It was amazing, and it's incredible. Mike, you have always said everyone loves firefighters, everyone hates cancer. So this is such a mission and a life purpose that really does so much good for the community and nationally.
You mentioned earlier going to our website and buying a kit. One of the ideas I got from a woman I know, the Ray K lady I told you that lives down in Florida, Kathy Rule, she said, "Why don't you adopt the firefighter on the website?" I said, wow, I wish I'd have thought of that one too. But what people can do, if you know a firefighter, you're related to one, you can go online with us, buy the kit, and have it sent to the firefighter if you want. So it's a wonderful idea, and I think we've got a few of them already. It's going to be fun. The word will get out there.
It will, it will. And, these kits are not just for firefighters. People who fear having cancer or have cancer in their families or have other occupational exposures, they can buy a kit directly for themselves. And, oftentimes it's a sad fact that what is it? Children of firefighters also risk high exposure because they will bring their gear home, and it's not unusual for children to want to play with the coats, the hats, and all that other stuff. And that also exposes them to toxicity.
Yeah, there was a study done in Florida a couple of years ago, and the results were mind-boggling. I know it was only a small sample, but still, if you can expand it out to, and assume that it would be the same all around, the statistics verify that one child in every 10,000 non-firefighter families will get cancer. One child in every 400 firefighter families will get cancer. So 10,000 to 400. Children of firefighters are 27 times more likely to get cancer. and it's because of the bunker gear or whatever. And I want to mention also that the lawsuits that are going back and forth, and they're adversarial in nature. One side said you did this, the other side says no, we didn't. We stay away from that. We don't deal with that at all because it's a political issue essentially, and there's no politics involved with us here. We don't concern ourselves with where the cancer comes from, only that we find out about it early enough to have a positive outcome. That's where we're coming from. So when it comes to these bunker gear issues and all this, the PFAS, we're sympathetic to the cause, but we don't participate at all.
And you know what got me involved, Mike, was first of all, your integrity. We've known each other a long time. I was so honored that you put the touch on me to help with all this effort, which I think is incredible. And it's I like also that it's not a political issue. In fact, you've made it very clear. We're not working with necessarily the fire department. We are giving the firefighters directly the kits. We want to bypass all the bureaucracy and all the politics. Here in Milton, Chief Christopher Madden, he knows about this. He's on board with it. And they're taking down the signups for those people who want to get involved and get these kits directly. And it's very, very satisfying, removing a layer of bureaucracy and politics.
Yeah, I think by being completely and totally neutral, that it sends a message to people that would like to maybe co-opt this a little bit for their own benefit. We're not interested. We're just doing what we're doing because we think it's right, and we don't bother with the politics. We can leave that at home somewhere.
Exactly. And the test results, they come privately to the person. And if there are indications, they can speak to their primary provider. Now, my oncologist said that if there are indications, then the doctor takes over and runs their own battery of tests.
Yep.
But early detection is everything.
It is. I had some statistics. I can't remember them offhand, but some of the survival percentages based on early detection and not early detection were staggering. Like early detection for lung cancer, the survival rate is like 80%. Without early detection, the survival rate is like 15% or whatever. So the early detection, that's where it's at. That's where the rubber hits the road. And that's where all of our focus will be, and it will continue to be.
And also, this is what I've learned regarding early detection. When the firefighters had their annual exams, they don't necessarily detect these things. Only a CT scan will really tell you that you have cancer, right? Or a dedicated test. But the problem is that, for example, lung cancer can be disguised as a respiratory problem or pneumonia. And by the time the symptoms manifest, well, you're probably in stage 3 and 4.
That's right. That's right.
And it's very difficult. I myself was diagnosed with stage 1 lung cancer 5 years ago. I fall into that demographic of Asian women who have never smoked, but still got lung cancer. And because it was early detection, here I am 5 years later, and I've been doing well. And so I understand how important it is to get treatment fast. But I have to tell you, interviewing firefighters, all right, who have gone through this or who are facing this, I notice that, they say men live longer if they're married, because in almost every case, it was the wife who was saying, "You're going to the doctor." "No, I'm not. I don't need to." "You're going to the doctor." And it really saved their lives. Now, when I talk to women, when I'm interviewing women, oh, they're on it. They don't even have any symptoms. They're on it. They're testing themselves. No problem. They're doing everything possible to stay healthy. What do you think that is, Mike, just from a personal point of view?
I don't know. And I think with the firefighters, I mean, I harken back to my own time on the fire department. Before we had the so-called bunker gear, we used to fight fires in dungaree jackets and helmets and maybe gloves, maybe. And there was a macho side to it as well. Who could go in the building, who could take the most smoke, and who could go further into the building, without having to bail. Oh, it was awful. And I don't know whether it's just bravado or there's a lot of competition among fire companies. So when you go to a fire with, engine one against engine two, they're going to fight to who gets in the door first, and it's bragging rights. I don't know what it was, but yeah, fortunately those days were gone because
Are they? Mike, I really appreciate your candor. It's great. It's really
now they have, they have to wear hoods and, all of his protective gear. And that's where some of the problems are, I guess, because apparently some of the gear is being treated with cancer causing chemicals. And oddly enough, people say, well, what are they putting the chemicals on the fire gear for? Most of it is to prevent them from being waterlogged. It repels water. It's not like it reflects heat or anything or keeps you. It's all about getting wet. Well, I used to tell people I've been wet a lot of times in my life, and every single time I've dried off. I have a 100% rate. I've never failed to dry off after I got wet. So, and so I don't know what's going on with all of that, but like I said, we stay away from it, but except to
Mike, that's such a fascinating insight. I had no idea, and I'm sure many viewers will will be taken aback with that. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
one
there's a lot
go
going
on, I'm sorry.
on. Oh, there was. Oh, yeah,
One thing that I really wanted to share with one thing that I really wanted to share with the viewers is your book.
busy as hell.
Busy as hell. Stories, tall tales, legends, yarns, and a cast of characters from the Boston Fire Department's famed war years, 1963 to 1983. And Mike, I know you're all in with Firefighters versus Cancer, and you're offering your book on sale on the website, and all proceeds go toward this new mission and purpose. You
There's
want to
another
talk a
one.
little bit about your book?
Yeah, there's another one, busy as hell too. It's bigger. It weighs 3 pounds and it's bigger than the Boston White Pages. I like to tell people. But yeah, and the funny thing is, you're familiar with the book Crushing Cancer by Terry Forrestal. Terry
I
Forrestal
think I have it. I actually think I have it on my desk.
offering his book online as well. And he says, and all the proceeds will go toward the foundation. So that's good. We're going to be putting that up in the next week or so, hopefully.
That's how I met you, Mike, years ago. You and I did a show together here on Milton Access TV, and I loved your book. We formed a friendship, and now our lives are so much more intertwined through friendship and our
Well,
careers.
you were doing a talk on the art of column writing. And I saw you, I believe it was at a Knights of Columbus someplace around, and we talked afterwards. That's how long that was. I still have a copy of it right here.
Oh my gosh. And you know what? This is such an entertaining book and such an insight into a firefighter's mindset during that period of time. Come on, Mike, go ahead, brag on yourself. Tell us
Well,
about the book.
as I said to people, I wasn't alone at these fires. There were a lot of other firemen there with me, but it was a time I like to call it kind of like the Errol Flynn era. I like to call it. We were a bunch of swashbucklers. We wore our helmets at a jaunty angle, and we went in, put the fire out there, went downstairs, and sat on the side of the ladder truck and smoked cigarettes. It was crazy. But yeah, it was. I mean, some of the things we did. There's a lot of funny stuff in there, and there's some tragedy, of course, because we ran the whole gambit from from sad to happy and back and forth. And it was just a lot of fun to actually be there. I told people it was more fun doing it than it was writing about it. But
Oh. Well, Mike, I can't believe, but our time is up. And I want
really,
to thank you. Yes, and I want to thank you for being with us today. And
well,
hey, folks, let's get free cancer screening kits to the Milton Fire Department. All you have to do to participate is attend the comedy fundraiser on May 10th, 2025. It's $30, and you can buy the tickets on firefightersvscancer.org. All you have to do is hit events and it'll take you right to the link. It's going to be held on Mother's Day weekend on a Saturday night, 7 o'clock. And I can tell you, it's going to be clean comedy.
I was just going to mention that, right? Because instead of just bringing yourself, bring your whole family because the kids can come too. because I know that was one of the things you insisted on, was it to be a clean comedy show. And the comedians are Tony V, Will Noonan, and Carolyn Plummer. And I know all of them. They're wonderful people. And it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
We are going to have a lot of fun, and our vision is to fill the 700 seat auditorium at Milton High School. Help us out, help a friend out, help the firefighters out. Mike Foley, retired Lieutenant Mike Foley, founder of firefightersbecancer.org. Thank you for being with us tonight, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody. Thanks for being with us.
All right.
Three, two, one. Here we go!